Hey Inspired Tribe, how's it going? Welcome to the Inspired Livestream. It is Wednesday, January 20th, 2020, and we're excited to be here with you. We have a little bit of a different setup here. I'm just trying to see where am I looking to today? We got two cameras set up here. At any rate, we're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, and we're free. It's a different day today. We're in a different era. We've entered a new era today, to put it mildly. I was over the past couple of hours. One sentence kept coming up, and that sentence is Shakespeare's "The world's a stage, and each must play a part." And it's an interesting time to be alive, to say the least. As most of you know, no matter where you are around the planet, today was Inauguration Day. This is a big story in American history. But we're in world history, and we're not going to go into all the details. But as of today, there's a new president in the United States, Joe Biden. And that hence a new era has begun. Now, for multiple reasons, Kristin and I are a little sad today. We are going through the motions, if you will. And I know, depending on where you're tuning in from, and depending on how you're looking at these things, this might be surprising. I know a lot of people are surprised when they hear that. But that's such a long story. That's such a big image that we're looking at, and it's hard to put in words sometimes. But as always, we're going to try to find the inspired perspective. We're going to try to move into a different, perspective, a different way of looking at things. And I'm reminded of today. I'm reminded of very different things. It's weird. But one of my best friends, and I don't even know exactly why this is coming to my mind, it has been all day. One of my best friends growing up, Dominic, we've known each other since we were 2 years old. And a few years back, he made his big journey home into the other realm. But growing up, I was always an athlete. I was skiing, I was doing motocross, I was doing different kinds of things. But skiing was my main thing. And was in very, very good shape. And he was a tennis player. And he was a very, very good tennis player. For me, it was like a recreational sport that I'd play sometimes. He was very good at it. But he never really paid too much attention to his, overall physical condition. He wasn't one to work out a lot. He played the game well. At any rate, once or twice a year, we would play a tennis match. And obviously, in terms of skills and technique, I was in a completely different league, way lower than him. He was very, very skilled. But it was always surprising that after an hour, it was pretty much an even game. Because what I lacked in skills, I made up with a lot of running. And if you know anything about tennis, there's always the better person on the court decides where the ball is going and pretty much steers the game. And the other person is either a good runner or a good loser. And I was never a good loser, so I decided to be a good runner. And I would run my behind off. I'd literally run like a crazy man trying to get every ball, and I'd return the ball. I wouldn't do it very well, but I would. And at the end of the day, I was either losing by a little or winning by a little, but I was so, I was up to par. Although I didn't necessarily have all the skills, but there was this stubbornness and this absolutely not knowing how to give up, ever, never, ever. I don't know how to do that. I do have moments of just weakness. I do have moments where I go through the motions. I do have moments where I'm sad or angry, but I simply don't have it in me to give up. And so even on a day like today, and this is such a big, broad picture, it's not really about politics at all. It's not really about, about what people consider politics. It's such a big picture for us. But I wanna go I want to go back to that statement by Shakespeare who said, "The world's a stage and each must play a part." What does that mean? The world is a stage. And if you remember, we always distinguish between the natural realm, the planet Earth, Mother Earth, the natural way of living, and the world, which is a human construct, right? If you look outside of us, if you look at how we live as this human society, it's all agreements that we make, right? It's how we build these systems, it's how we build our political systems, it's how we build our government systems, it's how we build our financial systems. These are all just agreements. This is not natural. It's something that we make up, and enough of us decide that that's the way how it's going to be, that's the ideal. And so that's the world. The world is the construct. It's not really the natural way of things, it's how we make them up. And so the world is truly a stage. And on that stage, we all have a part to play. You could also say it's the Matrix. For those of you who know the term, maybe know the movie, for those of you who have seen it, it appeared like it was a fictional story, but really, it really is the Matrix. The Matrix, all these agreements, all these things that we view on the outside as a reality, really isn't reality. It's just a common agreement that we have. But most of the people pretend that's reality. Most of the people pretend that's the way it needs to be. That it cannot be any other way. That's how it is. But really, it changes all the time because it isn't a reality. It is just a matrix that we build, a common understanding, a common place to live in. And Christine and I live a very different life than most of the people we know, because we exit this matrix for long periods of time, and we live in our completely own reality, which we try to build as natural as possible, and that's our goal always, to live as close to the natural ways of living and feeling and communicating. And so we exit this matrix because it just doesn't feel real to us, and so we don't really enjoy being in the matrix for longer periods of time. And then in kind of periodical terms almost, we're called back to enter the matrix, to maybe serve in the matrix, if you will, to do something. We're called to do something because we believe that people want to, they always strive towards that understanding. That's why they look at spiritual teachings like Abraham Hicks. That's why they look at all kinds of spiritual teachings, because they have this inner knowing that there is something more than this world that we look at every day, that there's a bigger picture. And so we enter these worldly structures to bring authenticity to it, to bring light to it, to bring understanding to it, so that we can move as a human family into the understanding that that's not the way things are. We can always change that. We always have the possibility to change our human systems. We have the possibility to make them better. We have the possibility to make them into something that serves us all, rather than just certain small portions of society, which is the aim here. We do understand that some sort of matrix, some sort of world will always be there, because in order for us to live together and to do things together and to create together, we create certain structures that make that possible. And these structures and these systems are positive, and they're helpful, and they're good, and they're needed. And so we want to bring love and authenticity to the world so we can build these structures. And so many people over the years have woken up to that understanding and are helping in that, to build these structures in a more positive and in a way that helps everyone, that serves everyone. That's the whole. If you look at government, if you look at anything a government is really supposed to do, it needs to serve the people. That was the initial idea of government, right? Whether that's a small tribal government where you have elders and you have a council, or whether that's a bigger government like we have in this country, where you have, bureaucracy and all that structure. And even that should only ever serve the purpose to serve the people. It should never be the other way around. It shouldn't come to the point where the people need to serve their government. And we have fallen into that over a long period of time, over this wrong understanding that people need to serve the government and that humanity needs to somehow suffer to satisfy their governments. And when there are moments in time where someone is called to move into this field that isn't part of this field, these are usually outsiders. They come into government. They have a deep calling. Always flawed people, because everyone is flawed in some ways. But many years ago now, almost 10 years ago, there was a good friend of ours, Frank Stronach. We didn't know him at the time, but he was called to go into politics and to bring a new perspective, to remind people that what the role of government is and how beautiful this could be. And we were called at that time to support him in the ways that we could, and we believed in that, and that's why we entered the matrix, if you will. And it was a very positive movement, but something happened is that the beast in place, the government in place, got scared because, that meant change, and so they fought him very hard, and they fought him away, if you will. And we've seen this again now in this country, where people don't, I know it's so hard for people to understand because they look at the previous president now as such a polarizing figure, and make no mistake, he is a polarizing figure. But what people seem to misunderstand, because there's been such a hard fight, is that that guy is not a racist, not against any particular group in society, not homophobe, none of these things. And I have it on very, very good authority that that's not the case, very firsthand. But someone who rattled the cage, flawed, imperfect, sometimes using language and words that we probably would never use, but nonetheless with an understanding that a government is supposed to serve the people, and the people are supposed to be in control of their government. The people are supposed to steer a nation's path. The people are supposed to be in control of that. And freedom and liberty really are at the foundation of that. That's really the foundation of this movement. And because we're always moving through so many different areas of society, we get to meet all kinds of people. We're never prejudiced about what someone believes, where they come from, what their religion is, what their heritage is. We love meeting people, and so we can tell you that we have met people on the whole spectrum, in the whole spectrum of politics, in the whole spectrum of religion, in the whole spectrum of ethnicity. And most people are good. Most people are really, really good. Most people have a good heart. Most people do. And we have had the great pleasure to meet many people that call themselves, supporters of the former president now. And they're very, very good people. People that love their families, people that love their lives, people that have a relationship with God, people that love their countries. Absolutely. We've never experienced negativity or hatred or violence whatsoever. And we've had many personal experiences like that. It's just never been a part of our experience. Now, we can't say that everyone's like that. That's never the case. But we just want to maybe paint a different picture, a picture that's closer to how things really are rather than to how they're always being presented. And we believe that this authentic new awakening within people, that's not about violence. It's not about fighting. It's more about remembering that there's something greater, that freedom must be the foundation of everything that we do together as a society and as individuals. It must be the foundation. If there's no freedom, there's nothing else. That's always, and remember what Abraham always says. Freedom is the basis of life, and joy is the purpose of life. So freedom is the basis of life. And whoever, and the, if you will, the devil, and I don't like using those words because, or if you will, the dark side, if you will. The dark side promises everything in exchange for freedom, right? So all the comfort, all the taking care of, all these beautiful shiny things that it offers if you give up freedom. And it's never worth it. It's never worth it, because freedom gives you the opportunity to create what you want anyways. And so on a day like today, where we understand through years and years of observing, of looking, of researching, of not allowing ourselves to be manipulated, but rather bringing our own authentic discernment to it, today was a bad day for freedom. That's just really how it is. Now tomorrow is going to be a better day, because tomorrow, when a lot of people are over the, kind of this first shock, their freedom will begin to become the dominant vibration again. And I do believe that in the spirit of freedom and love, new paths are created, new ideas, and I do believe that there's a new path forward that isn't comparable to what we have done as societies in the past. I do believe that. And so that's my inspiration moving forward. Now, mostly speaking, we have never lived our lives by politics, by who is in charge, who is the president and who's not. Granted that we had probably, we lived in countries and places that were fairly free compared to what, for example, my parents and grandparents have experienced, to what Kristine's parents and grandparents have experienced, to what other nations are experiencing, and people are experiencing around the planet. And the thought that comes to my mind is that this belief that we can make things better by dictating to large portions of society how they need to live and what they need to believe. If we even in what we love to bring to the people, which is inspiration and a greater spiritual understanding, we never ever for a moment believed that everyone needs to believe the same way we do and think the same way we do. We never go out there and say, listen, if you don't believe that you're a powerful co-creator, and you don't believe that there's such a thing as the law of attraction, if you don't believe that everything is vibration in the universe, that's fine. I would never ever think that anyone must believe what I believe or think what I think. And so no matter where you are, no matter where your heart beats politically speaking, no matter what you believe, I hope and trust that that freedom will be at the forefront of your heart and your mind when you go forward. That what you think and what you believe is your freedom to think and believe. And your neighbor, your friends, your co-workers, your families, your children, your parents, your siblings, they have that same freedom. And if we come together in that freedom, we usually co-create beautiful things in a spirit of diversity, not in a spirit of sameness. So that's our biggest intention moving forward. That everyone understands that to suppress, to silence, to push away people that think differently, people that believe differently, is never the answer. And that's been our, if you will, only concern over the past year. How much of that we've seen, how little diversity was allowed. And that's the irony, and I will be a little. I want to be a little ironic here. I've seen a stage today in DC that was full of visual diversity in terms of people from all walks of life, people from all ethnicities and religions were there, and so it portrayed a picture of inclusiveness and diversity, but the actions over the past months from the same group of people was the exact opposite, was to suppress and to silence people that think differently or think diversely. So that's why we will continue to inspire freedom, continue to inspire authenticity. We've come here as 7.5 billion people now, maybe close to 8 billion people, each of us bringing our own uniqueness, our own puzzle piece to the puzzle. We cannot be the same. We are all unique in our own ways. We can believe in common virtues. We can believe in common morale. We can believe in common values. I believe we need those. We need those as society. I think we need to believe in the freedom for everyone. We need to all accept that we have given rights because we exist, whether you call it God, whether you call it the universe, whatever you want to call that greater power. We all have those rights because we exist. They're not there because someone grants them to us. There's no other person that has more rights than we do. There's no other person that has greater authority over rights that we do. So we all need to remember that, and that's the foundation of our togetherness on this earth. We all have those rights, and that's going to be in all areas of our work, of our beingness, of our creations. That's going to be at the foundation to bring people together from all walks of life and work, create, play, laugh, sing, talk in the spirit of freedom, in the spirit of inspiration. That's my thought of the day. It took me a while to get here. I was a little shocked, a little down. Now, that being said, I talked myself into more alignment while I was speaking to you guys, which is always a good thing. I do believe that we're still going to see some unexpected things over the next period of time, because the spirit is the vibration can't be it can't be turned off. And as my wonderful, wonderful, amazing, wise, beautiful, smart wife always says, energy does not go away. It just doesn't. That's a law of physics. Energy does not go away. And there's so much energy around the idea of freedom and liberty, around the idea of real liberation of the human spirit, of remembering who we really are as co-creators, of remembering who we really are as sovereigns. These are such beautiful ideas that, there can be a dark day, there can be a shadow overhead sometimes, but that only lasts for a split second. We are these powerful beings. We will continue to become more powerful as we understand ourselves better, and as we reach out to each other and help each other and inspire each other and move and create and live and breathe and give from a spirit of this trueness, of this authenticity, who we really are. That's in that spirit. I want to leave this live stream today and remind you, no matter where you stand, you are wonderful. You have meaning. You have purpose. Your presence on this planet has purpose, and I encourage you to bring this knowing to your life every day, to speak your truth, to build more bridges than anything else, because the more we have a beautiful bridge builder here, Siobhan, she's here today, and Siobhan, we call her the builder of bridges. She's really good at that. She's here under LNG. So if you feel like you need someone who can build bridges, maybe connect with Siobhan. She's really good at that. And connect with each other, build bridges to each other, and let's move forward, and let's expand to the spirit of freedom, spirit of co-creation, and know that we are winning. And we're only winning when everyone's winning. So in our minds, in our hearts, humanity's winning when freedom is winning. That's how we see it. So Inspired Tribe, thank you for joining us today. It's a little later than usual, but we're here. We're going to be here again tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Standard. We're going to continue this mission. And we attract and hope, and we'll continue to accept your help in spreading the message, in bringing more people to the tribe, people from all walks of life, people from all places on the planet. Our human family, bring them together, share inspiration, share love, share freedom, share kindness, share ideas. Sometimes Disagree. Sometimes agree to disagree. That is fine. That's human. We love you all. We see you tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central Standard, right here on the Inspire channel.